Hi friends, welcome to my channel. This is your Govindraj. Thank you very much for your likes and comments and also watching my previous videos and also sharing it to all your contacts. Today we are going to talk on this Code on Wages Karnataka Rules 2021, which is a draft published in their website in the Government of Karnataka Ministry of Labour website on 2nd March 2021, inviting the objections and suggestions from the public. And this rules will come into effect within after 30 days from the date of publication in the official gazette. And as you know already, the central government has published their draft rules, and the dates for objections and comments is already over. And now the central government is on the verge of preparation and finalizing and also notifying the central rules. However, because of the states have not yet framed their rules, and the notification and implementations of this labor codes is getting delayed. And I also gave certain highlights and insights about central rules already in a separate video. If you are interested, you can watch this video and also get to know certain insights if you have not watched. And before we get into certain highlights of this Code on Wages Karnataka rules, we need to know why the central rules or the Karnataka rules or the state rules are important when the code on wages is already passed. See, when any act or code is passed by the parliament, it contains certain abstract provisions and key elements. However, the implementation part is left to the appropriate government, and this appropriate government will be both central government for all industrial establishments who are under the control of the central government, and in all other cases the respective state government in their respective jurisdiction. And we also need to know, and we also need to read the appropriate government definition for a proper understanding of the sphere of control of the central government as well as the state government. And moreover, see, the law needs a procedure or implementation, rules like, working rules, authorities, forms, registers, administrative machinery, and certain other information, which these are required to be developed by the appropriate government. If the act or the code has to contain all these rules and procedures and related information, then that will become very voluminous. And also another point is that there will be some dynamic criteria or points that will change over time. So therefore it is important that the rules are taking care of all these things, and instead of amending the entire act or the code. And also, if you look at the statute, it provides power to the appropriate government, and sometimes the central government will alone have the power to make certain rules and manage the provisions by making rules. So therefore it is important also to understand who has got the power on which topic. And now let's look into jurisdiction of state rules, or we can say appropriate government rules. See, these Karnataka rules apply to industrial establishment who come under the state as appropriate government. And as I said already, the state has the power to frame certain rules, and it can make it applicable for its jurisdiction on certain matters. And if you look at the Code on Wages 2019, the central government has the exclusive power to make certain rules on central advisory board, payment of bonus and its calculation methods, and also how to arrive the bonus percentage, the procedure to conduct an inquiry to impose a penalty, which is basically an executive power, and of course the fixation related to national floor wages. All this information, the appropriate government or the state government has no power, only the central government can make power, and these will have a national application or national importance. Now, barring these things which the central government has retained the power for a central application, the appropriate government can make rules on fixation of minimum wages, which are the provisions which are related to basically authorized deductions, the procedure to be followed in case of imposition of fine, deductions for damage, loss, and advances, and also registers and records which are required to be maintained by the employer. And also claims by the employees, appeals provision in case the claims are rejected or the employer has not paid the dues, and the procedure for composition or compounding, and few other related matters. And when both the government make rules on this, because at the capacity of the appropriate government, central government can also make rules on these topics. However, the provisions which the central government and the state government makes will be applicable to their jurisdiction. So therefore it is important to understand this fact. And now let me tell you some of the key highlights of the draft rules of Karnataka. See, the criteria for fixation of minimum wages is provided in line with the central rules, and while doing so it has considered standard working class family and daily calorie requirement and the clothes and housing rent requirement. All these provisions are taken into consideration for fixation of minimum wages. And as you know, must be already knowing, going ahead there will not be any scheduled employment concept. So today you have many scheduled employments, maybe around 40-50 scheduled employments. This concept is not going to be there going ahead, because the code on wages 2019 has done away with the scheduled employment concept. Now going ahead, what will happen is the state will get divided into different geographies, and this each geography will again divided into three categories. That is basically metropolitan, which has got 40 lakhs or more population; non-metropolitan, which has got more than 10 lakhs but less than 40 lakhs; and the area which doesn't come into metropolitan and not metropolitan will be considered as rural area. So based on these categories, and for these categories and for these geographies, the minimum wages will get prescribed, and the occupations also will be categorized, and they are supposed to be listed in schedule A based on unskilled, skilled, semi-skilled and highly skilled definitions. So these definitions of the skill levels are provided in the rules, Karnataka rules as well as central rules. However, in the Karnataka rules, this schedule A is not appended to the rules, because I did not find it in the notification. Probably when it's published in the official gazette, maybe we have to look into it, and then it could be an error from the government also. But however, if you look at the central rules, schedule A is there. All the most of the occupations are listed, and also they are categorized into skilled, highly skilled and semi skilled, and also unskilled. So all these categories are available. Now the minimum wages will be notified for each geographical area in the state based on these categories. And this schedule is expected to contain many occupations, including that ones related to managers and supervisors, because the codes covers all employees. But if you look at the central rules and also schedule A, the central rules did not contain the occupations related to managers and supervisors. Now we have to look into the state schedule A when it comes into get notified or maybe corrected. So we will have to just check whether it also contains the occupations related to the supervisors and managers. And if you look at this registers and returns, these draft rules contain only 6 forms, and only 3 forms are regular forms which the employer is required to maintain or provide. And if you look at what are these forms, there is a form called Form 1, which is register of fines, deductions, advances, and also along with wages and overtime details. And there is one Form 4, which is basically an employee register with the details of the employees. And another form, which is Form 5, is wage slip, and there is no return to be filed under the code, because if you look at minimum wages and also payment of bonus act and also payment of wages act, there were certain annual returns was applicable, and after that the law got amended and they made a combined annual return. But however, in this code on wages and also the Karnataka rules as well as the central government, so there is no annual return is required to be filed, barring the maintenance of these three registers, mainly for the employer's point of view. And these draft rules do not contain any provisions on payment of bonus topic, because this topic is largely related with the central government, including how to calculate this available surplus, allocable surplus, and also what needs to be deducted, how to reconstruct the gross profits. All these things are with the central government. And on this topic also I have dealt with in many videos. You can have a look at my channel and also view the information on this. However, one important factor or one important matter which is the appropriate government or the state government is, fixing the ceiling wages for applicability and also for calculation of bonus is with the appropriate government, and this wage ceiling is expected to be notified once these rules and everything comes into force. Then the appointed date is fixed, so this needs to be done by way of a notification and not in the rules. And another clarity which is come in the rules is, even the central rules is, when employer gives any advances or loans, and if in any month if it is crossing more than 50% or 75%, then the employer had a possibility to carry forward for the next 6 months, and if he is unable to deduct within these 6 months, he had to forego. Now because of the changes in the rules, now the employer has got a possibility to deduct in the successive months, and provided he manages this 50% deduction criteria. So if that is done, he can carry forward the success for the successive months and then still deduct it. So that flexibility is given in the hands of the employer. Now, and also if you look at these registers, labor identification number or LIN, which we call it as, is required to be quoted in all these registers. However, it is very not clear whether the state government retains the labor identification number provided through the Shram Suvidha portal, which is basically managed by the central government, is still not clear. So there may be a chance that the state government may give its own labor identification number, or there may be a possibility that there will be a portability agreement between the states and central government, and there can be only one labor identification. But this is only possible, and this is only possible to conclude only when the rules, final rules get formed and there is notification or clarity is given on this. So but it is suggested always that one single labor identification for the entire establishment, which is same for in the entire India, should be the appropriate rules. But we will have to look into it how this is going to be formulated in the future. I gave certain comments and suggestions to the government on this topic. One is imposition of fines. It related to this, when you have a certified standing orders or model standing orders, the approval for omissions and acts which qualify for imposition of fines is not necessary, because the disciplinary procedure is already defined there. And in the case of technical committee which advises on the categories of occupation, there is a requirement of 2 technical experts. I have suggested that the technical experts qualities and criteria have to be fixed, and the human resource professionals who are involved in compensation and benefits have to be given importance to qualify as members in this technical committee. And there is also the code talked about interest rate for advances and loans at the bank interest rate, because today the different banks will charge different rates. Therefore the government can prescribe certain standards within the threshold of the RBI, so that it gets a clarity. And I also made certain comments on the registers and also this information which needs to be provided or maintained in the register, especially the signature requirements and also service book number. These are today irrelevant, because everything is going to be managed and maintained digitally. So these are certain information which they need to look into it. I gave almost I gave certain detailed comments and suggestions, and hopefully the government will look into it and will take into consideration for the finalization of the rules. Thank you very much for watching my video so far, and please do share this information with your network, and also don't forget to write your comments and also like the video, and I will come back to you with new videos and new information. And thank you very much. Till then, see you. Bye bye.